Oregon, a land of adventure and awe.
That was a great take.
A treasure, majestic and hidden. A state that calls out for exploration and experience. The journey of discovery begins now. From KGW, this is Grant's Getaways.
Hi there, I'm Grant McComey, your host and outdoor reporter for KGW's Grant's Getaways, where each week we explore Oregon's people, places, and outdoor adventures. You know, most news reporters that I know are like stones skipping across the surface of a pond that is moving from story to story each day of the week. While I, on the other hand, have gotten myself good and wet, thoroughly immersed in some timely issue, some fascinating people, exciting outdoor adventures. I have also traveled from corner to corner, thousands of miles, and here is a little secret: I have loved every minute of it. Part of the pleasure I enjoy is the opportunity to bring those stories to you. And this week on Grant's Getaways, it's a bit of nostalgic romance through thundering waterfalls, seen and savored as we discover the romance of waterfalls. And diners delight with an Oregon seafood specialty. We tried new recipes with fresh smoked salmon. And it's a thrilling trip down the wild and scenic Sandy River, fishing for steelhead with colorful metal lures called spinners and spoons. But first, a story of risk and danger that's all about the crabbing business and crossing the bar at Tillamook Bay. Sometimes the best scenery is hiding in plain sight.
Well, the view you have from here is pretty amazing.
This over-the-shoulder scene is lost to most folks driving up the new mile-and-a-half Cape Mears Loop Road.
Pretty amazing view. It's one of the better ones on the coast, I think.
But Don Backman knew it was a keeper shortly after the road reopened after a decade-long closure last fall.
Pretty cool shot.
He promised us the best was yet to come. He was right.
Holy cow, look at that. Well, that's $1 million shot, huh?
It's gorgeous. You would not ever have seen that view because this is the only place you're going to see it from.
You can see it from this new scenic overlook created by Tillamook County road planners. The view to Three Arch Rocks is unique and stunning.
When you discovered this view shot for the first time, what were you thinking?
It's an amazing view. It really is. It's, you know, I've hiked most of the Oregon coast, on the Oregon coast trails. I've seen the views, and it stacks right up there with any of them. It's that contrast between the white water and the dark rock. It's just beautiful.
Backman's beauty shots are easy to come by in his corner of the state. The lifelong local and retired teacher makes the most of his gorgeous outdoor neighborhoods in Tillamook County, with eagles and herons and egrets galore. Not bad for a fella gifted with an eye for the wild, who was hooked with his first camera at age 12.
It's like a whole new world. It's like, whoa, what is this? You know, and you could go out and take an image and you could develop it and watch it develop in the old dark room. And you could see that come to life on your prints when you make prints and stuff. It was just a way to tell a story. It was really a lot of fun.
Don's latest storytelling challenge takes him where wind and rain and towering surf are fierce. Atop the jetty rocks at Barview, when the hardcore fishers go to work.
If you watch them go in and out and how they read the water and how they're picking their way, it's amazing their skill. And for just somebody watching it, it's amazing that they could do what they do.
Don does what few photographers try. Up to 24 Oregon Dungeness crab boats crossing the Tillamook Bar day and night from January through spring.
I tell my crew that, you know, there's some days you just don't tell your wife or your mother about what we did today. And
Bob Browning is a longtime fisher and a skipper. There he is at the wheel of his boat, the Lady Lee, crossing the bar.
every day is different. Every swell's a different direction, a different period length. There's times where you have to make your decision to keep going or to turn around, and you only have a split second to do it, and then you're either safe or you're not.
Browning says the trips are never twice the same, and you better know the way. He adds, Backman's photos get it right.
He knows the right minute to hit the button. I mean, he doesn't just catch you in the action, he catches you at the peak of the action. Like the spray coming off of the boat when a wave hits us and things like that.
Don captures the fisherman's wild and dangerous commute because it's important to share the story of Oregon men and women who put the food on our tables.
They go out and they're working, and they think nothing of it. It's just what they do. Yeah. But when you watch them go out or come in when it's nasty, it just kind of gives you some awe, you know.
Stay with us. Diners delight in an Oregon seafood specialty. New recipes with fresh smoked salmon when Grants Getaways continues. Sunny summer days on a flood tide makes for fun times at famed Buoy 10 Salmon Fishery near Astoria. Especially exciting when the fish are on the bite.
It's another king. That is a beautiful fish.
A gorgeous catch for sure, but what to do with 30 pounds of salmon? Some say head for the smoker.
It's going to be iced down fairly quickly. We take the temperature out of the fish right away. The fish is very fresh. Steve's on top of that. So I know that he's got good fishermen that take good care of their product.
Terry Hartle does the salmon smoking, while Fishhawk Fisheries owner Steve Fick provides the catch.
This fish was caught last night. It's going to be butchered, ready for the market within 12 hours. It'll be in his shop within 24 hours. Controlled, consistent product.
Hartle's Bell Buoy Seafood has been a seaside Oregon fixture since 1946. Terry's been in the business since '66.
We know the process inside and out. We only use the best product. Our people that handle the fish in our smoking operations been doing it for over 40 years. They really know what they're doing.
Bell Buoy offers both fresh and canned seafood, but one specialty stands above them all, fresh out of the giant salmon smoker that slowly burns a mix of alder and maple wood. Up to 200 pounds of salmon chunks arrive fresh out of the smoke. Salmon strips, salmon collars and fins, plus smoked oysters, and new to me, smoked razor clams. And yes, you could say I am in seafood heaven. Smoked razor clams.
Smoked razor clams.
Oh! Oh! Man, Terry!
I tell you, it's good.
Secret recipe going here.
I can't divulge that.
You're not gonna tell me what it is. That is delicious. The duo love to team up in the kitchen and share smoked salmon recipes with newcomers.
We'll use the Chinook, we'll use sockeye, we'll use silvers, but as long as it goes through the smoker, we're looking for that smoke taste to it.
Recipe number one is an easy smoked salmon spread. Terry mixes 8 ounces of cream cheese with a cup each of sour cream and mayonnaise. He adds 1 to 2 cups of chopped smoked salmon, 1 tablespoon each of lemon juice, capers, chopped dill, and chives, followed by several shakes of Tabasco. The spread is served with vegetables, crackers, or toasted bread. Recipe number 2 is a smoked salmon chowder. Steve mixes a half cup each of cooked bacon, chopped celery and corn, 1 cup of cooked potatoes, and 1 cup of white onion. He prefers almond milk for a low-cal approach to this rich chowder. 4 cups of rough chopped smoked salmon is added, and all the ingredients are warmed through.
We're done.
Finally, recipe number 3, 2 versions of smoked salmon homemade pizzas. The first mixes basil pesto with softened cream cheese. It's spread across a pre-made pizza dough, and then chunks of smoked salmon are added.
This is spinach. This is the goat cheese.
Pizza number 2 is tomato-based, followed with mozzarella cheese and a generous amount of smoked salmon, followed by smoked oysters and those out-of-this-world smoked razor clams.
We're going to put a little bit of Oregon in this. And we're going to put some Tillamook cheese. I really, truly like this on a pizza. I cut it thin.
The smoked salmon pizzas slide into a 450-degree oven for just 10 minutes, and then the diners weigh in.
These pizzas are fabulous. And it's got all the right stuff. It's something that nobody would ever thought of, trying pizza this way, particularly when you're baking it at home. And yet, sometimes we have access to these kinds of foods and we never think of combining it in this sort of way.
We are fortunate to live in Oregon where we have just food right out our back door practically.
That's one thing about cooking. You can do all kinds of fun things, you know, and I think people get too wrapped up with what they're supposed to do. Do what tastes good, and we're trying to do some different things with smoked salmon today other than just eating a piece of smoked salmon.
Stay with us for a thrilling trip down the wild and scenic Sandy River, fishing for steelhead with colorful metal lures called spinners and spoons, when Grant's Getaways continues.
Ready? Off we go.
When you fish with a legend, you know you're in good hands.
It's not an easy put in. It's a real pain to put in. There's no shuttle service, and the rapids are dangerous, and so most people do it once.
Retired fishing guide Ed Fast
Hang on.
has run the rapids, slipped past the boulders, and left all his troubles behind for nearly 4 decades on the upper Sandy River. His friends George Stump and Aaron Shook traveled this way too.
I think it's the tranquility of being in the outdoors and fishing for a fish that's just phenomenal.
Although they come from varied backgrounds, one thing's on each angler's mind.
How to explain the passion of a steelhead fisherman? It's something that's just inside your heart, and you just can't get away from it.
Here's one that didn't get away.
Black and silver is my favorite. I think it's the contrast, you know, real bright silver and obviously dark body.
Steelhead are nicknamed metalheads, and George really knows how to catch them, especially how to match metal spinners and spoons that fish like to bite.
That's the whole reason why I'm a spinner nut. Your lure can just stop like you hit a rock.
I think actually the heart of a fisherman is really what's new and what's fun. Everybody wants to always try something new. They want to see something new.
George and Rob Brown are in the business of creating metal blades in hundreds of gorgeous colors. The blades carry ageless names like Colorado, Indiana, or Cascades. Their partnership, called First Strike Lures, was born of a shared passion for fishing and hooking more people into it.
Dad takes son out to the river. Here's a rod, here's the spoon, go cast. Easy for young people to pick up and take.
They have grown the business to become one of Oregon's finest lure-making companies, relying on the best products available. For example, that's real silver plated onto the blades. Makes a big durability difference under the water.
This time of year, there should be some big wild fish in the river.
Back on the Sandy River,
Beautiful down here, huh?
the threesome enjoy a fine day of research.
Cast upstream, and you want it to feel the bottom. As soon as you feel the bottom, you give it some tension so it stays just ticking the bottom, not dragging the bottom.
It doesn't take long.
Fish!
It's not big, but it looks nice and chrome. Look at that beautiful fish.
Winter steelhead are pretty feisty fish with some good friends. It's an all-around thing, whether you catch fish or not.
When you hook one, the thrill is like no other fish.
Oregon owns many backroad byways that offer unique adventures. Here's one that's closer than you'd think on an outdoor tip of the week along the lower Columbia River. A cold winter chill may dampen but never drown my spirit for adventure along Oregon roadways that are less traveled, especially when I've so much wild company to show the way, and drop in at Sauvie Island Wildlife Area just off State Highway 30. An Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife site that caters to visitors, those with feathers and those without.
We get a very large number of bird watchers and wildlife viewers. It's quite the resource for that.
This route between Portland and Astoria may not be the fastest, but that's okay by me. For near Rainier, I can pull off and watch the B-52s of the waterfowl world. At Trojan Pond, tundra swans seem to fill the sky on 6-foot wingspans. At a distance, they seem like so many cotton balls, silent and majestic, floating atop the water. Swans mate for life, and each winter their young of the year, with dark mottled feathers, tag along. Swans are the long-distance travelers of the waterfowl world. In fact, few wildlife come close to surpassing their remarkable journey, a 10,000-mile round-trip migration from the Arctic to Mexico wintering grounds and back home again. Just past Rainier, dive off Highway 30 onto Beaver Falls Road, where waterfall wanderings provide 2 falls for the price of 1 stop. The upper Beaver Falls is easy enough to find. It's mere steps from your car, and there's a swift-flowing cascading rapid just above. The drive to the next falls is less than 2 miles, and consider this. The narrow, winding roadway was once the main state highway, built a century ago. Now Beaver Falls Road is quiet and out of the way. Perhaps that's not so bad. And so we're on the move, for the best is yet to come.
If it flies or tweets or make a sound, everything's in there. I mean, it's from elk to hummingbirds.
Twilight Eagle Sanctuary has more than 100 acres of protected wetlands and forests spread like an apron in front of Burnside Road.
The vista here is outstanding. There's a lot of wild settings. You can kind of count on owning it for at least a few minutes when you come here. It doesn't draw a crowd.
Stay with us for a bit of nostalgic romance through thundering waterfalls that are seen and savored as we discover the romance of waterfalls when Grants Getaways continues. While the Gorge impresses people with its mammoth size, I cherish the nooks and crannies more, especially where water flows and famous falls whirl and shimmer and ripple, and where you can leave all distractions behind.
This really is a place that you can shut your cell phone off and you can shut the laptop off and you can reconnect with each other and with the past, both man-made past and also with the geologic past. Shepherd's Dell rolls out of Young's Creek in a foamy moment that resembles a bow tie turned on its side affair, slipping and sliding, twisting and falling into a rocky cradle. It offers an open invitation to romantics like me, for I've a love affair with its grace, beauty, and absolute simplicity. Shepherd's Dell really strikes to the heart of romance in the Columbia River Gorge. That's because this property was given over by the landowner, a fellow by the name of George Shepherd, in 1915. He opened it to the public as a tribute to his wife. He was so much in love with her, and yet he wanted to share all of that with the rest of us. What a romantic. 1 mile east of Shepherd's Dell, Bridal Veil State Park offers an easy stroll down a half-mile trail, across a bridge, and then up to a viewing platform. The park's namesake falls is best enjoyed with someone special. You'll see why when you stand on the platform and gaze up to the 160-foot waterfall, plunging twice in a wide, steep slide. It looks like the veil of a bride's gown coming back. In fact, a lot of people actually get their wedding invitation stamped at the Bridal Veil post office. So there is a lot of nostalgia there and a lot of connection to that history.
Due west at Ladderell Falls is an incredible show that speaks for itself. Really. Ladderell hisses and bellows and shouts for attention as it falls 249 feet. It is the second highest falls in the gorge, and a paved trail lets you hike near its base. But keep safety close to heart when you trek this way. And aren't we lucky to have a parkland like Silver Falls State Park?
where 9,000 acres offers rustic romance along the Trail of 10 Falls, plus a lodge that stands large from rock and timber construction.
The lodge is gorgeous. I mean, I think it's really one of the highlights. There's a fire going that has that smell. Just feels like a lodge, gives you that wilderness feeling, sort of like you're in nature. If you're a first-time visitor, I say come here first, the South Falls area. And if you're up for a long hike, go down into the canyon. You're walking along, you hear a sound, and all of a sudden there's a waterfall right there. There's all these reasons to be here, but really the waterfalls are it.
We have all the details, directions, and the contact information for all the stories in this week's show on the KGW website, so be sure to check it out. Finally, it's always been my hope that Grants Getaways helps people smile and swell a bit with pride for all there is to see and do in Oregon. For gosh sakes, why live here if you don't go searching for those singular moments that set Oregon apart from just about everywhere else? So get out here and explore the Oregon outdoors and let KGW's Grants Getaways be your guide. For KGW and Grants Getaways, I'm Grant McComey.
Grants Getaways on KGW is sponsored by Bell Buoy of Seaside, Angling, Marine and Industrial Supply, and Fishhawk Fisheries.